What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. A couple of people in the comment section have been noting that I look a little bit crazy lately. I assure you I'm doing pretty good, and thanks for worrying about me. It truly does warm me up a little inside. After this market watch, I'll be doing a workout. It feels so good to have a home gym. Then I'll be showering, hygiene's important, cooking dinner, and then getting to the live stream at 7 o'clock Central. So be sure to join. But the most important investment that you can make is in yourself, so be sure you're taking care of yourselves as well. Cheesy advice out of the way, let's get into today's market watch. Tier 0 Games wanted me to let you guys know the moment anything updates on their sale, they'll be putting it up on Twitter, so you can actually see exactly what they're putting back in stock with the sale. I know a ton of you guys have been asking me, so be sure, this is their official Twitter, at Tier 0 Games, be sure to check that out. And even if the big stuff is gone, like Magician Souls have sold out again, there's other good stuff to be finding on here. The cheapest liquid soldiers on market, you have the dark magicians under what anybody else is selling them by almost a third, and code What's Good 5 stacks on top, supporting the channel directly and getting you cheaper prices. Now on market, the ban list stuff has been very interesting to watch lately. I know no sooner than June 1st, that's right around the corner, and people are going stir crazy. Even unlimited secret rare maxis have been disappearing. I have a huge piece of advice. Even though this is a piece of history, even though it's Storm of Ragnarok, this is getting towards the prices when this was played in the metagame as the only available copy. If you're going after a secret rare, you better be getting a better deal than whatever's on this page, $180, and on top of it, you better be going for first edition and not unlimited, because unlimited is just sinking your money into the water, and it's going to go back down. You will find sellers eventually, and they will undercut each other. Now with the ultimate rare, it's also sold out past what I could have ever expected. The $300 copies are gone, and now people are listing at $550. So seeing this, I do get why some people would circle back around and look at the secret rares like, that does seem pretty good price point wise versus this, and it's the next highest copy. People want max rarity. If they want a Storm of Ragnarok secret, they want it to be first edition if they're paying the extra bucks. So do be careful with your sales rates and how you're approaching this crazy ban list market. Of course, using my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly. But at these prices, I'd be buying absolutely nothing on this card. Yatagarasu is another one that I'm kind of noticing. I mentioned that I thought it could be unbanned. Packs of unlimited LOD have been appearing in those monster boxes, so those have been popping back up and more are appearing on market at lower prices than they have been in recent history. So you see a lot more unlimited Yatas just appearing, but the first editions, very, very hard to come by, and up above $150, but you see people lining up after a recent buyout just before 180 was the lowest, and now you see people undercutting each other. So even on ban list buyouts, these are going to happen. There's going to be more copies. There's going to be competition. There's going to be people who go, that's what I was waiting for, and start to list. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, of course, recently on the ban list. A ton of people think it can come back to 1. I sure freaking hope not, but people are calling for it. If you're going to go for this card, go first ed, and you notice a lot of people have. So the unlims going up above market price for the originals, and the originals is all I would really pay attention to, and first editions are towards $10. I could see this very similar to Masterpiece, where if people truly enjoy playing this as a past format, or, you know, actually going back into Yu-Gi-Oh! History, the first editions could appreciate towards 20, but Masterpiece, being the only printing of himself, falls back down once again after a buyout. You see the unlims down here starting to get cheaper again, and the first editions back towards 18, where they've been kind of stuck at. So even after these buyouts have happened, cool down, another buyout, it cools down again. That's just what's going to happen. Some people will have missed the first buyout and gone, I just keep ban list cards to the side, I don't really pay attention, and they're going to relist and undercut later, and they're going to continue to do that in this vicious cycle of people looking to ban list invest. It's not my favorite form of investing. You're against this huge wall of people crashing against the market. You have to already be listed. You have to time it right, in my opinion, and it's just so much work for what can end up in a terrible kind of place of, remember Super Magician of Faith when it came off initially? It crashed from 80 to 30 and took GOAT format to climb it back up over time. You take risk when you invest for ban lists at times, but there are some clear winners too, to be fair. Now let's talk Eternity Code, with USA sellers getting this in hand finally. The moment stores have it in hand, they're allowed to sell it, whether it was meant for sneak peeks or whatever. When a store has it, now they can list, and we see the competition really ramping up. Starlight Veilers return to the wild. These were bought out actually right before people started to list again, so you see they're at 800 versus their lower market price versus the actual sales. Also, Moonlit Chill has skyrocketed as well for Starlight. We'll see how competition dictates once people are mass opening cases and what they're going to undercut each other towards. But Starlight, that market's going insane right now. Access Code Talker is the winner of this set by far. It's one of the top 3 cards that I did call, but I didn't see it happening this soon. A ton of people quoting that it's the next Boral Sword, and it is in way more decks than I could have actually imagined. So if you got in on those pre-sales at 30, I know several of you pounding your chest there saying, yeah, I got that at 30. Good freaking job. Gearsu falling down and down under $60 now, thanks to competition ramping up. You see now it's not just 9 sellers, 28 sellers. Archosaur under $40, so quick. I called this one to be 30 once things settled, and it sure is headed that way. And Moonlit Chill cooling back down after its recent disappearance from the market towards 36. Remember, it was 30 on pre-sales. Link Cross is maybe the biggest surprise, heading down towards where Tier 0 projected with their sale. Tier 0 just hits the nail on the head so often when it comes to these pre-sale prices and where they think it'll actually end up on the market. Even when I say they're Mad Legend, that's too cheap, sometimes they're right, and other times they're just selling something for way too cheap, like $30. Chamber Dragon Maid is really sticking up there, though. I predict that it'll start to fall as competition heats up, but we've seen weirder things on market from the Dragon Maids. Uka is under $20, and the other secrets are starting to go down. This is the Dark Neostorm effect. Every single secret is appealing. Every single secret is a good card, but versus estimated value pulled, when everybody's opening cases, they all can't stay up, versus that demand, although pull rates are lower for this set than any other set in pretty much history, where every single secret you have a 2.4 total copies per case, like instead of, you know, that 3 because there's now 10 secrets. Man, I don't know where things are going to land and how it's going to end up, but all these cards are just so good on the front page that it's ridiculous. You see Crocodragon falling down, you see Salon falling down, and this was bound to happen once we actually got the cards over here. So let's wait another couple weeks and see, once the actual quantities that all come in are getting open, what's gonna happen with that. It sure is an interesting show. What do you guys think of Eternity Code, by the way? And these Starlights, and the market with Starlights being so insane, rewarding those opening cases are those who manage to pull them. All 5 of these are pretty excellent. The Trap Tricks, as I have heard from at least the EU, was the easiest to pull, and Veiler was the hardest. We'll see if that rings any truth this time with ratios, but that's from multiple people opening like 50 plus cases. Like, I think that's pretty darn crazy. Witchcrafter Hane is up above $10 still, so this is a super you may not have even known was worth some money that you've pulled. Well, she's been sticking up here ever since the other Witchcrafter buyouts and continuing to inch up in price. My suggestion would still be to sell it. It's a super rare out of the set, but at the same time, she continues to defy gravity and go up, and people really do like that archetype. Mystic Mine is towards $12. Just a friendly reminder that Dark Neostorm is up for reprints towards the Megatons, so I could see this one getting a rarity upgrade. I hate to say that came out of my mouth, but we see it towards $12 right now, and it definitely, with Konami not touching it on a list, I feel like it's subject to being the Megatons at a better rarity than it is right now. Orkest in general is holding really good in prices. Like, you see Galatea still towards 46 for her ulti. She had buyouts towards the $50 marks. This is a pretty good fallout for her. Then Gearsu is up almost towards 40, and Orchestrated Return is still holding in at $25. And Soul Fusion is past the point of reprints. This will have to end up in Battles of Legend or something else. You don't have a Megaton that's going to magically give us this anymore. So when it comes to these cards, just some interesting notes that a lot of people are gassing up the Orkest decks, and I think there's very good reasons for it. I think this is one of those top 5 decks, but it's towards the 4th or 5th place, and it's going to prove to be pretty resilient in the metagame, but that's just my call. Let me know what you think of Orkest. Also, playing against it, I notice it does have the tendency to brick worse than almost any deck that is in the top decks in the metagame, so whenever you have that, people love consistency versus power. The power plays are so there. I I actually like Girsu a lot for World Legacy decks, like Mech Knights and other things actually mixing in, has been very impressive when I've played against it from some people in the streams. I don't think it's going to overtake the meta, but it almost feels more consistent than Orkest on its own at times. Isolde is up for even the Ultra Unlims. People are looking after this. There is a super rare version, but after all this time, she's starting to creep up, and we see the first editions are very close. So what do I always say? If you're gonna go between these two cards, get the first ed original and not the Unlims. Even though there's not a big difference now, this is a card that's been out for a long time now, and eventually there will be a gap through fallouts of the first editions continuing to be higher. Right now it's only $1. That could go towards $5 someday in the future, especially if she sees her return to the metagame, which this card's crazy. It very easily could return to a metagame. And Chaos Dragon Levia near the dual overload versions are starting to creep up over time. It seems like a pretty solid 5. And the secret rares are starting to creep back up over market price. And the ultimate rares are really hanging in there past what I gave them credit for. I did think it would go down and then rebound. That's what's happening, but it's rebounding faster than I would have thought, which often does happen with ultimate rares. But you see there's one first ed here at 14 and then another, and then they kind of disappeared towards the $15 mark, and the first editions start to go up quickly. There are a lot of unlimiteds, and you know, not everybody prefers this art. Some people like the new art, some people want a secret rare, some people want an ultimate rare. You're always going to have those different choices. But when it comes to this tournament pack, I do think there's going to be some lingering towards stores when people get back. I know OTS Pack 13 is on the horizon, but stores are opening back up here, having their tournaments, and I think that you're going to see more OTS Pack 12 in circulation. It kind of got cut in half for its supply, so we saw some unnatural waves in its market tendencies, and maybe that'll stick, or maybe it'll go back down a little and you'll have opportunities to get some of this cheaper, but definitely one of the best OTS packs of all time. That being said, thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please use that TCG player link in the description down below. It helps so much while ad rates are so bad, and I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to click that before shopping. It really, really does help the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and I want to hear back what you think about the Banlist Market too. What do you guys think when it comes to this? And I also want to hear back on a little bit of Eternity Code. How do you think this is going to continue to turn out? Is it just down from here like Dark Neostorm, or like I think a couple of things are going to like dip initially and then skyrocket back up as vendors pick and choose what's really good in this format? If Link Ross doesn't hit that ban list or something doesn't hurt that engine, Link Ross I think is a very solid card personally.